Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In case you're new here, my name is Lorena and I love to share my recipes with you. And if you've been here before, then hello again. Today I'm showing you how to make 5 things that you can add to your salads to make them more interesting and fun. These 5 things are tortilla chips, caramelized pecans, crispy quinoa, crispy prosciutto, and Parmesan chips. I really like these and I don't only use them for salads, I also use them for soups, and for example the crispy quinoa I also add to my yogurt in the morning. Another thing that you can put on top of your salads, which I really like, are crispy leeks. If you want to see how those are made, then head over to my 3-cheese risotto recipe where I teach you how to make them. I'm now going over to make these 5 options for your salads, so if you want to see how they're done, then keep on watching this video. We're going to start with the crispy quinoa. I really love crispy quinoa and it's definitely my favorite from the 5 I'm showing you today. The first thing that we need to do is to cook the quinoa. For this, you put 1.5 times the amount of quinoa that you're putting in of water. As soon as it starts to boil, then you reduce the heat to the lowest and put the lid on. Keep on cooking until it's completely dry. Usually if I'm cooking quinoa for a salad or to replace a starch, then I usually cook it with a bay leaf or maybe a bit of onion in it or something to give it a bit more flavor. However, right now I need it to be really neutral because I also use this for yogurt, as I told you before, or maybe to make a granola with it. It's really versatile if you don't put any flavorings in it. Now that our quinoa is nicely cooked and dry, we need to spread it on a baking sheet that's lined with baking paper. We especially need the baking paper on the first part of the drying of the quinoa because it's wet right now and so it tends to stick to the baking sheet. However, I'll tell you later when you can remove it. Spread it out as thinly as possible so that they don't stack on top of each other and it takes less time. I usually make a lot of crispy quinoa at once. I'll put it in the oven and have it really dry and crispy and then keep it in an airtight container for whenever I need it, whether it be a salad or for my yogurt or if I want to make granola. So by any means this is really useful. I even used it to top a soup last time and it was amazing. Once you have spread it nicely on the baking paper, then it's time to go into the oven. It will cook at 180 and you will remove it every 5 minutes to give it a stir. This is because the quinoa is really prone to burning and your oven will inevitably have hot spots. Each time you take it out of the oven, you'll notice that it's more and more dry and it starts to become golden. Once you feel that it's dry on the outside, then it's time to remove the parchment paper and now you know that it won't stick to your baking sheet. You also need to spread it out this time, but now you can be more confident that it won't be sticking to it and making your life miserable afterwards when you need to wash it. Once you get something similar to what you're watching on the screen, then you know that you're about to finish. Here you have to be extra careful because it will go golden really fast. Just look at how nice and crispy that is. Now on to our Parmesan chips. Here I'm adding the paprika and salt to my freshly grated Parmesan cheese. It's really important that you freshly grate your Parmesan cheese and that you don't buy it grated already because it does make a difference in the way that it melts. We also add some pepper to taste. At this point you can even add a dried herb that you like. Now the Parmesan needs to go into the oven, so we're going to prepare a baking sheet for this. Put a tiny bit of vegetable oil on the baking sheet and spread it out with a paper towel. Use this oil to stick your baking paper onto the tray. Now to make sure that I have an even shape, I used a cookie cutter and I put about a teaspoon inside of the Parmesan that we prepared before. I give it a little shake and then I patted it down with a teaspoon. I repeated the same over and over again, leaving about 2 fingers between them so that they don't melt together. These will then go into the oven at 180 for about 5 to 10 minutes. You can tell that the Parmesan crisps are ready when they stop bubbling vigorously. Then you know that they've gone from melting to becoming golden, and this is the perfect stage to take them out. Then you only need to leave them to cool down a bit, and then you'll be able to perfectly unstick them from the baking paper. Now on to our next crispy salad topping. We're going to make some Serrano Ham Chips. You can also make this with prosciutto and it works just as good. I cut the Serrano ham into small triangles and now I'm spreading them out on top of baking paper so that they can become crispy in the oven. They go into the oven at 140 for about 10 minutes or until you feel that they are nice and crispy. Now that's what I call really easy. Now we're on to our fourth topping. We're making tortilla chips with olive oil and oregano. I don't only use this for salads, I actually also use them as crackers for cheese if we're having appetizers and drinks before dinner. So it's a really nice and useful recipe to have at hand. Use a clean pair of scissors to cut the tortillas into triangles. We spread them out nicely on baking paper and then we're going to brush it with a bit of olive oil, salt, pepper and oregano. Now that these are nicely seasoned, they go into the oven at 180 for about 5 to 10 minutes until they are nice and golden. Depending on your oven, you might have to turn them around halfway through. Now our final salad topping, the candied pecans. Before this step, I slightly roasted the pecans in an oven to make sure that they are nice and crispy. This will only take about 5 to 10 minutes at 180. Put the butter in and melt it away. Also add the sugar and the salt. Once the butter has melted completely, then you need to add between 5 and 10 milliliters of water to melt the sugar completely and coat the pecans nicely. Once you have done this, it's only a matter of waiting for the water to evaporate completely before putting it on a silpat mat, baking paper, or anything where it cannot stick to. for them to reach their maximum crunchiness, you need to let them cool down completely. And there you go, 5 amazing crunchy toppings for your salads. Those were my 5 options to make your salads more interesting. I hope you liked them. If you did like this video, then don't forget to put thumbs up. It makes me really happy. Also, if you make any of these recipes or any other recipe from the blog, don't forget to send me a picture because I really love to see what you cook. If there's anything you would like me to teach you make, whether it's savory or sweet, don't forget to leave a comment below. I'm posting videos every Thursday and Sunday, so if you don't want to miss any recipe, then I recommend that you subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook as Cravings Journal. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.